For most people, their internal cholesterol gauge works well enough to keep their cholesterol at a good level. However, if your levels of cholesterol are too high, LDLs will leave extra cholesterol in the blood. If the HDLs cannot pick up all of this cholesterol, it will begin to build up on your artery walls, along with other fats and debris. This buildup is called plaque. Over time, plaque can narrow the blood vessels, and sometimes this buildup may even block your blood vessels completely. Plaque buildup on your blood vessel walls is called atherosclerosis. A narrowed or blocked blood vessel can prevent blood from getting to where it needs to go. If the blocked vessel is in your brain, it can cause a stroke. Blockages can also happen in the blood vessels called the coronary arteries that carry blood to the heart muscle. This blockage process is called coronary heart disease, and the end result can be a heart attack.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of both men and women in this country. In fact, by the end of the day, heart disease will kill 3,500 Americans. That's 1.3 million Americans every year, equivalent to the total population of Philadelphia or Phoenix. The leading cause of heart disease is high cholesterol. More than 75 million American adults, or about 50%, have elevated cholesterol levels, and the number keeps growing. Heart disease, the #1 killer. Are you at risk? Will you become a statistic, a memory? Because remember, it doesn't matter if you're tall, short, fat, skinny, white or black. Cholesterol doesn't discriminate. Even kids are being diagnosed with high cholesterol. It's an epidemic.
Over the past 10 years, major companies have introduced prescription drugs called statins to fight cholesterol. In fact, the 2 top-selling prescription drugs in the world today are statins.
Although statin drugs lower cholesterol for many people, they do have limitations and weaknesses.
In most cases, statins only use one method to lower cholesterol, inhibiting cholesterol production in the liver. Statins generally focus on lowering bad cholesterol, LDL, but do little to improve good cholesterol, HDL. Another problem with statins is the potentially dangerous side effects. In fact, it's estimated that more than 20% of Americans can't even take statin drugs due to side effects.
Family has had heart disease. In fact, both my father and my mother died from heart disease. Well, I had a cholesterol level that was in excess of 280. I tried it for the first 30 days, had a blood test, and my cholesterol dropped below 200, first time ever. I continued on the product for the next 6 months, and my cholesterol dropped from over 280 down to below 150.
I had a 200-point drop in my triglycerides and a 60-point drop in my cholesterol. I wouldn't stop taking this product for any amount of money.
Bios Life, clinically proven to help restore and maintain healthy blood glucose and cholesterol levels. Listed in the prestigious Physician's Desk reference, Bios Life is recommended by thousands of healthcare and medical professionals throughout North America, Asia, and Europe, who are seeking a safe, scientifically researched, natural solution for their patients.
My cholesterol went from 275 to 180 with a very good ratio, so I was really impressed.
It's important that the Bios Life is in the PDR because it does lend substantial credibility to it. Once physicians recognize that it's in there, then they feel better about prescribing it.
I personally have over 700 patients taking Bios Life. I did a study involving 240 patients to prove to myself that it really was efficacious, and that demonstrated results that was beyond belief. It was so good, it blew me away.
It works, I've seen it, and it is reproducible results time and time again, and that research speaks for itself.
Finally, a choice for millions of Americans who need to improve their cholesterol levels. Finally, a clinically proven, natural, and safe solution for complete cholesterol care. A solution with no side effects. A solution targeted to improve your life. Your choice today to start taking BioSlife might be the biggest factor in the quality and length of your life. To start taking BioSlife, speak with the person that shared this DVD with you, or call 1-888-BIOSLIFE. Your future depends on it.
Cholesterol comes from two places. Your body makes most of the cholesterol it needs in the liver. The rest of the cholesterol in your body comes from the food you eat. There is no cholesterol in anything that comes from a plant. Cholesterol is only made by animals, so you can only get it by eating animal products.
In light of recommendations for heart-healthy eating from national professional organizations encouraging Americans to limit their intake of meat, the beef industry commissioned and co-wrote this review of randomized controlled trials comparing the effects of beef versus chicken and fish on cholesterol levels published over the last 60 years. They found that the impact of beef consumption on the cholesterol profile of humans is similar to that of fish and/or poultry, meaning that switching from red meat to white meat likely wouldn't make any difference. And that's really no surprise, given how fat we've genetically manipulated chickens to be these days, up to 10 times more fat than they had a century ago. So there's a number of cuts of beef that have less cholesterol-raising saturated fat than chicken there at the bottom. So no surprise that white meat was found to be no better than red. But their conclusion was, therefore, you can eat beef as part of a balanced diet to manage your cholesterol. That's just like the Coke versus Pepsi thing, right? Even though Coke has less sugar than Pepsi, 16 spoonfuls of sugar per bottle instead of just 15. If studies on blood sugar found no difference between drinking Coke and drinking Pepsi, you wouldn't conclude that Pepsi may be considered when recommending diets for the management of blood sugars. You'd say they're both just as bad, so we should ideally consume neither. It's a standard drug industry trick to compare their fancy new drug not to the best out there, but to some miserable drug to make yours look better. Note they didn't compare beef to plant proteins, like in this study, but I was surprised as I started reading this that they found no benefit to switching to a plant protein diet either. What were they eating? Plant protein diet on the left, animal protein diet on the right. Breakfast looks OK. Instead of a burger for lunch, the plant group got a kidney bean and tomato casserole and a salad, nice. And dinner, instead of another burger, just some boring vegetables. Why was the cholesterol of the plant group as bad as the animal group? Oh, because they had the plant protein group eating 3 tablespoons of beef tallow every day, 3 tablespoons of beef fat margarine. Well, no wonder. This was part of a series of studies that tried to figure out what it was about meat that was so cholesterol-raising. Was it the animal protein? Was it the animal fat? So they created these fake meat products made to have the same amount of saturated fat and cholesterol by adding extracted animal fats and cholesterol. Who could they get to make such strange concoctions? The Ralston Purina Dog Food Company. But what's crazy is that even if you keep the saturated animal fat and cholesterol the same by adding meat fats to the veggie burgers, and making the plant group swallow cholesterol pills to equal it out, sometimes you still see an advantage in the plant protein group. See how they had them switch diets halfway through and their cholesterol levels kind of switched as well? You switch people from meat to tofu, their cholesterol goes down. But what if you switch them from meat to tofu plus lard? Then their cholesterol may stay the same, though tofu and lard may indeed actually be better than the meat, since it may result in less oxidized cholesterol. So even just swapping plant protein for animal protein may have advantages. But if we really want to maximize the power of diet to lower cholesterol, we may want to move entirely towards plants. The standard dietary advice cut down on fatty meat, dairy, and eggs may lower cholesterol 5 to 10%, but flexitarian or vegetarian diets may drop our levels from 10 to 15%. Vegan diets 15 to 25%, and healthier vegan diets up to 35%, like this study, showing a 61-point drop in LDL cholesterol within a matter of weeks.